You said to ask for more. So I have more questions. The first one is really short. How to market this potential that I'm, to be honest, kind of afraid of as well?
We like the question a lot for a different reason than you think. We're going to tell you the reason we like it so much first. We like this question a lot because this leading edge place that you're all on the brink of, that will serve you so well once you take the leap and feel the alignment with it. This leading edge place that you're on the brink of is understanding that you've already done the work. You already did step 1 and step 2 has already been done. And so when we say things are always working out for me, standing in your shoes, things are always working out for me, we want to say things have already worked out for you in the vortex. So now what your work is to calibrate some sort of way by just messing with it until you feel yourself click into place, so that what has already worked out for you can show itself to you here. And so what you just did with your question is you pointed at what is, which is different than what's in the vortex, which got in the way of letting what's in the vortex come into your reality. So just ponder those kinds of things less. Accept the realness of what's there and what you feel and what you know. And what makes you second guess, we're just going to give this to you bluntly, what makes you specifically second guess that is because you're running around with all these certificates. So you think you need someone else to put the acclaim on you before you will allow it to be. And that'll hold you back forever because they don't know and they aren't the ones that get to assign it. You're the one that gets to ask for it and then it comes. There are no requirements. No one will ever say, go forth, bang around, figure out what you want and get into alignment and then we'll decide when it's time for you to get it. There isn't any of that. You can tell by the way you feel and you can tell by the way it unfolds. So what do you think you're reaching for here?
Maybe a certificate?
Yeah, we think so too. And the certificate that comes is, ooh, that felt good. Ooh, I love that. Ooh, this is delicious. Ooh, I want more of that. Ooh, that's a good idea. Ooh, it's just these incremental confirmations that you are in sync with who you are. And what you're asking for now is on the brink of exploding into your experience. And we mean it when we say, putting the words together to give you the full picture of it is not even possible. You have to get to that place where you're feeling it, and then when it explodes into your life experience, say, oh, okay, I can make the association with what happened here.
So it's really all about the feeling.
It's all about focusing, and feeling indicates how you're focusing. It's all about focusing into alignment with what you've put into your vortex and with what your inner being is tended to. And the way you focus there precisely and consciously, knowingly, cognitively is by paying attention to the way you feel and knowing what those feelings mean. We'll give you an example of something that's happened to Esther recently where things just put themselves together. So she had just completed a broadcast and it was a Saturday afternoon and she was feeling glorious like she always does once she comes back into her physical realm after that. And she went to her condominium. She'd moved off the property. Too much to tell to all of you. And she thought, I really like this part of town. I wonder if there are any lovely houses for sale in this part of town. Now, she had no intention of buying a lovely house. She was just wondering because she likes to look at lovely houses. And so she got her computer out and put her zip code in, and some things came up, but all of them required her giving her information, which she really didn't want to give because she didn't want to get somebody excited about something that she was just thinking about. Then her daughter called, and her daughter said, "What you doing?" That's the way almost every conversation begins. "What you doing?" And Esther said, "I'm looking at beautiful houses in this beautiful part of town." And Tracy said, "Don't buy a house." And Esther said, "Well, I'm just looking, and if I find something, I will, mind your own business. She wasn't really looking at all. You're going to like how this unfolds because this is what we really want you to hear. Esther said, I don't want to put my zip codes in. And Tracy said, well, you don't have to. Let me send you some links. And so Tracy did some searching and sent her mother 2 links. And Esther looked at the pictures that came. One of them not interested. The other one, ooh, really like that. Ooh, really like that. Ooh, 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 really, really, really like that. Ooh, 95 pictures, like that picture, like that picture, like that picture, like that picture. So her interest turned into something that was really fun. And then Esther wondered, I wonder if I could see that house. And so she called her daughter back and said, do you remember the realtor that helped me get this condominium? And Tracy said, I think her name was. And Esther said, yes, she found it in her phone. So Esther sent the link to this girl and said, is there any chance I can see this house? And the reply came back, that's my listing. See how it's putting itself together? And Esther said, when can I see it? And she said, tomorrow. And Esther said, that would be fun. So Esther went to the house. And then more fun started unfolding. The couple that was there, magnificent. The things that they've brought to the house, magnificent. Very much inclusion from all kinds of places all around the world. Just about every religion is represented by some archway or some doorway or some spiral this or that or some stained glass. In other words, it's really an inclusive thing and really a magnificent house. And 2 people that Esther really, really came to like right away. And Esther is standing in the house and knowing that she wants the house, and then asks if she could get the floor plans and sends the floor plans to her son-in-law, who is an architect, who says, do you know who designed that house? The same person who designed my house, and you like my house so much. And Esther thought, oh, now that's just something that I put in my vortex a long time ago. Appreciation for an architect from Mexico. That was all that she had put. And now she's standing in a house that was designed by that architect. And then she looks at the floor plans and realized that it was built by the builder of a previous home that Esther had owned, so she knows the quality of the house. And then. In other words, it would take us an hour to tell you all of these things that came together. They're still continuing to come together. Like an avalanche of things. And the reason that we're telling you the story in this way is because it took Esther a while to realize that, oh yeah, at that point, I appreciated that. And at that point, I appreciated that. Over a period of several years, she'd appreciated and appreciated and appreciated, not even thinking about put it into the vortex, put it into the vortex, and put it into the vortex. And then one fine day, when she's tuned in, tapped in, turned on, she gets an impulse that leads her to something, that leads her to something, that leads her to something, that leads her to something. And the avalanche of all of the things, Esther says, you can't make this stuff up. It made her understand the precision with which the universe is listening, your inner being is listening, the way the law of attraction works, the worthiness of your being. Things don't have to be hard. They don't have to take a long time. And the point that we're making, that we really want you to hear, is that you've done the work. You've created the vortex. The cooperative components are already gathered. When you just make a little bit of deliberate interest in caring about the way you feel and let that be your interest, not buying a house, not creating an empire, not starting or creating a business. When your work now, more of the time, is want to feel good, want to feel good, want to feel interested, want to feel satisfied, want to feel ecstatic. What you're reaching for now, instead of money or fame or approval of others, what you're reaching for is your own feeling of being tuned in, tapped in, turned on. And that's what you spend your time calibrating for. Then the things that you don't even remember that you put in the vortex that have been vetted by you and tended by your inner being and have become more, because as the cooperative components, this is another thing. The pieces that you put into your vibrational reality, into your vortex, as the cooperative components begin gathering them together, they become more delightful, more impactful, more influential, more satisfying, more. So your creations in your vortex are even more than you realized that they had become, because you're not the engine in the car. You don't get in there and pull the belts and pulleys and try to be a piston or a fuel injector or whatever they're putting in the vehicle these days. You're just the pointer. You've come to life and you say, oh, I like that, and oh, I like that very much, and I don't like that, which is an implied, I prefer that. I like that, it goes into the vortex. I don't like that. The implication goes into the vortex. And so, can you feel how big it is? And are we making the point at all to you how much you deserve to allow it into your experience? And how really easy it is to allow it into your experience if you could just let go of the idea. Esther doesn't have to roam the world and find this doorway that came from this country and this doorway that came from this country. She doesn't have to find the spiral for the staircase or the dome. Somebody else gathered it all up, but all of those elements were in her vortex because she's traveled the world and like that and like that and like that and like that. And somebody, a physical person, gathered a lot of it and put it together. And one day Esther had an impulse to just look online and to tell her daughter, and to then send the link, and then to go see the place, and then to lose her mind as she began understanding how much that she loves is already there. It's like the perfect representation of something putting itself together. And what happens with most of our physical friends is you think you've got to put it together. And not only that, you think you have to struggle in the putting it together and suffer in the putting it together and deserve putting it together and earn putting it together because you forgot somewhere along the way because others forgot it and offered the example to you and then started churches usually that make you think that you have to suffer your way into your well-being when that's the opposite. You cannot suffer your way to anything. You can't get poor enough to help poor people be prosperous or confused enough to help someone find clarity. You got to feel your way there. You got to care about how you feel. And you got to feel like you deserve to feel good. Is that a hurdle that you need to get over? In some cases it is. You don't even for sure know that you deserve to feel good because somebody convinced you that you got to jump through these hoops before you deserve it. And then you watch them. They're not jumping through the hoops and they seem to be thriving. What's going on? You guys aren't keeping the rules and you're thriving and I'm keeping every rule and I'm not thriving. What gives? And then they give you the really big, clear, bogus, flawed premise example. They say, oh, well, you can't tell while you're still in your body. You find out after you're dead whether you got it right or not, you see. That's not how the universe works. It's the same ever. I want to ask all of you to just feel something for a moment. Is this conversation buoying you or depressing you? Do you believe it? Do you believe in your ability to be or do or have anything? That's what we want for you. And if you're feeling sort of aggravated by it or annoyed by it or yeah but, I want to say yeah but about it, that just means that you've got some resistance about some things that you really care about. It's a very normal thing to want something to manifest and before it is manifested, feel the absence of its manifestation. But you got to get over that. So the manifestation that we're asking you here to reach for is the emotional manifestation. Because you can want $1 million because you want the financial freedom that indicates or implies. And it can be hard for you to build a mental pathway to that $1 million because so far, maybe something very far from that is what you're living. And so that feels hard to you. But if you think about why you want that $1 million, if you think about what it feels like to feel free or what it feels like to just do something on a whim because you want to, if you think about what freedom really feels like and you activate within yourself the emotion of eagerness, that's the work. The eagerness is the manifestation that can be accomplished in less than a minute.